Natarajan. He's seen Nandan Nilekani from close quarters. They've spent many, many years together at forums like NASSCOM, etc. Ganesh, Nandan Nilekani back to steer the ship through troubled waters, coming back as chairman of Infosys. Large parts of the Infosys board gone today. The board will be reconstituted. Your first comments.
No, I think it's absolutely amazing. In fact, I've been tweeting for the last 3 days that Nandan would be the absolute recipe for success for this company, because Nandan has probably been arguably the best CEO that Infosys has ever had. He's also played a very stellar role, of course, in digital India and everything else. So the kind of wisdom, the kind of sagacity that he brings to reconstitute the board, to find the right leadership and really talk to customers, shareholders, etc., is going to be amazing. So this is the best possible thing the board of Infosys could have done.
You're saying that this is the best possible thing that the board of Infosys could have done. But, as several people have pointed out, that it's a very different landscape. The world has changed. Infosys has changed. The services model has changed. And you're going through a period of pain within the company itself. So there's internal issues and there's the external environment, which is very, very challenging. As Nandan starts to piece all of this together, what would you believe would be the key imperatives, the pillars on which he will need to start to base this repair process?
Shereen, if there's one person who understands digital extremely well in this country, it's Nandan Nilekani. Because his work on the India stack, his work with Aadhaar, and the kind of quality of team he built for the UID was absolutely amazing. And we all watched him from very close quarters. So I think the external, I would bet he's as good as Vishal, if not better, in terms of understanding both the legacy systems as well as what needs to be done. And very well accepted. Everybody in the industry as well as within Infosys has great words for Nandan. So I think Nandan will be leaps ahead of anybody that you could think of, internal or external, to manage the company's operations at this point of time.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt about that. In fact, I interviewed Nandan, I think it was last month, and we were talking about data and Aadhaar and his need, his strong belief that we actually need to create a data inversion policy in India. And that's something that, in fact, the Apex Court today has also taken forward. So it's ironical that the day when the Supreme Court has actually held the right to privacy as a fundamental right, which will of course have bearings on things like Aadhaar, Nandan Nilekani is back at the helm at Infosys. But Ganesh, we've now in a situation where Nandan will be responsible for also piecing together a board, because we've seen R. Seshasai go, we've seen Ravi Venkatesan go, and 2 other board members leave as well. Given how things have played out, do you believe that there might be some hesitation on the people who might consider coming in?
No, I don't see why that should happen, Shereen, because, I noticed that Ravi is still very much on the board, though he's not co-chair. And that's good, because Ravi represents continuity on the board, and I think he has a lot of wisdom to offer to this board. I don't see any reason why good people outside who have the interest of the country and the stock exchanges and, of course, Infosys at heart would not be willing to join the board. And Nandan has such a stellar reputation in terms of integrity, in terms of capability to lead, that I think anybody would be willing to join this board.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think the government is also going to heave a sigh of relief, because remember, Infosys plays a huge part in the GSTN. And I'm sure the government was also watching this very, very closely. And I'm sure that they will heave a sigh of relief as well. But Madhu, the big challenge that... we've lost that line with Madhu Kela. But Ganesh, what do you see as being the biggest challenge facing Nandan at this point?
The biggest challenge, obviously, is there is a bit of fractured confidence, and I'm sure customers will be watching. So the biggest challenge is for him to almost, sit back into the driving seat 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, and be speaking with every constituent, whether it's shareholders, large institutional investors, large customers, the employees. The employees, I think, is the least of the problem here, because obviously they do respect Nandan. But clearly, this is going to be a 24/7 job, at least for the next 3, 4, 5 months, till a strong CEO takes office.